So I just wanted to do a quick walkthrough on this house. We started this December 1st and today is Monday the 2nd. So this is 1 month of progress in this house. So when we started, there was probably 50 sheets of drywall that were up, and everything else is either this 8-inch nickel gap that we installed. Here's a little bit of drywall, but it's all nickel gap or beadboard or MDF sheets. So this is just one of the entries. This is a dog room. So we didn't do the cabinets in this house. We're just responsible for tying in the trim. So they need to finish that cabinet in there so we can finish the trim. This is the laundry room. We're just waiting for cabinets to go in here. But the trim is as far as we can go. This house is really tight, so just walk with us here. So this casing is off right now. We're just trying to figure out some details with this light switch that's in a really weird location. But this ceiling is all done. This is in Patrick Ahern house, so this is their typical 1667 base cap with 1x6, and I think it's a 50/60 crown. It's their standard beaded casing profile. We make sure all the miters are nice and flush. We sand out these miters before the back band goes in to make sure that that's nice and flush underneath there. Waiting on cabinetry to go into these cased openings here. There's going to be cabinetry in those. They'll look like panelized cased openings. This is the great room. So here we have I think the ceilings are about 20 foot. There's MDF panels up to about 10 feet. And then there's going to be crown that goes on top of that 1x12 all the way around. Then we have a 10x12 ridge going in, 8x10 rafters, collar ties, all reclaimed. We're going to put those up first and then finish the ceiling. So it's going to be 6-inch beadboard ceiling with the panel molding, just like all the rest of the ceilings. This is in the kitchen. I don't know if you can see, but there's a huge 3,000-pound oven that we had to put in there. That's why that sheet of beadboard is off. This is going to get the same treatment with reclaimed beams and a 6-inch edge and center bead, or a 6-inch beadboard ceiling, and then cabinetry. And behind that wall is a pantry. It's kind of tight back there, no lighting, but that pantry is going to get the same details. So all my guys just left. So this is an active job site. Here's the living room. So coffered ceiling, beam details. All these panels were made on the floor, pocket screwed, sanded out so everything is nice and flush. We use a Festool 6-inch sander with a hard pad to make sure all of those joints are super flush. The hard pad really makes a huge difference, so I push that on everything. So here is the full height MDF panels. So we install the 1/2-inch MDF on the studs, hiding the seams behind all of the flat stock. And then it's a panel molding that goes in there. We just got a decision from the architect regarding how these panels were gonna go. So I have a carpenter in this set of stairs. These will be all set tomorrow. The stair guy is gonna come next week to finish this section. Down here, we transition from the beadboard ceiling to the drywall ceiling. This is how Patrick Ahern does those. So again, a lot of panels, just a small amount of drywall. So this is a weird detail that we had to come up with in the field. So there wasn't enough room to run crown and casing. So we decided to bump out the crown to go straight over that. And then we made an extension jamb. So there's a nice little 1/4-inch reveal there. So we just worked out those details in the field. But I think that ended up coming out nice. And here, this is just a small powder room. The ceiling details, like everywhere else. They do panel molding in those boxes. That's up 42 inches, and there will be cabinetry going in here. We centered the panels on the toilet, so, and then there's just a couple of panels in here. This is the office. So again, we're not doing the cabinetry in here. We're waiting for the cabinet guys to set the top and do the upper cabinets. And then we can tie in all of the crown in here, but all the rest of the crown is all set. These windows are cased down to the floor with that sill detail. This is how the architect was hoping that would go. And then the baseboard is going to go in between that back band. So in the middle here, where that outlet is, there won't be any baseboard. So when we do baseboard in outlets in the baseboard, we always cut out behind there to make sure that there's plenty of room for the box, along with cutting out if there's a little bit of framing in the way that has to move. We take care of that before all the paneling goes up. Also, just to point out, I'm super particular about standing up the doors. So as soon as we finish up in an area, I go through and put all the doors back on and make sure the doors operate properly before we leave. I've seen like the painters, other people will stand those doors up on a big angle and then they never work correctly. So I make sure that all those doors are standing up nice and straight so the doors don't warp. So this is the den. So we did the walls in the den right away, so I can use this as a little storage space because we're waiting on the ceiling. The ceiling is gonna be a mahogany ceiling. It's gonna be tongue and groove 1x6 with the same details as this. So instead of beadboard, it's gonna be V-groove. And then it'll have the flat stock 60 and 67 base cap, 1x6 in the 50-60 crown. And we do this, they decided to do a quarter round here. Sometimes it's Scotia. So that's the ceiling detail here. So again, we're waiting for that. That should be the next couple of weeks. So these are some really funky openings. So we had to improvise on a lot of this. So we cheated the base cap in, or the back band, to try to get a better reveal on this. This is all funky in here. So there's just not a lot of space to go back here. So we didn't want to, usually I would pull this in, but these are all really tight. And then also in here, the pocket door is centered in this hallway. And then if you turn around, our casing is centered in there. So I didn't want to pull this out anymore, or else this side would look weird. So we did what we could in here. We left out crown up here. We just did the flat stock because it would touch itself over here and get a little bit funky. Everything else gets that crown detail. So here's the master bedroom. So again, just sheets on the walls. I'm waiting for our beams, which are supposed to be here tomorrow. So we're gonna get those beams done, and then I can do the ceiling. I have carpenters doing this window seat right now. So this will be trimmed tomorrow. They're gonna go right into trimming these doors, and then we can panelize the walls in here as we're waiting for those beams on the ceiling. And I wanted to do the beams first so I could hide all of our fasteners behind them, on top of the beams, just so it was nice and clean there. And then I'll do the ceiling and the molding after. There's a vestibule going into the, so this is the master suite. Here's a vestibule. There's a walk-in closet here. We're using this as a tool storage. We try to keep whatever out of the way that we can. So again, panel molding, beadboard ceiling. Here's the master, so the master bath. So this was supposed to be a flat ceiling, and they changed it to a cathedral. So we had to figure out some of this. So there's going to be crown that wraps around there. This is the same detail that's going to go out in the great room and kitchen as well. Here there's two water closets. So we just have a couple of pieces to panel mold and to finish up in here. And then I'll go through, put all the doors back up. There's some cabinetry going in here, so we have to wait to finish the crown to wrap those cabinets. But this is pretty much finished up. So tomorrow, the guys will finish up the panel molding in the ceiling, finish some molding over here, and then I'll put the doors back up. We'll clean everything up. I go through and make sure everything is plugged. Those will get sanded out with the block so they're nice and flat. I go through and make sure that everything is sanded nice and flush, nice and flat, so the painters don't have to do as much work. So that's pretty much it for the first floor. So again, this was 1 month of progress on this job. And again, I preach efficiency in these houses, which doesn't mean throwing wood at the walls. We try to go through and methodically do as good of a job as we can. So we make sure every miter is good, every cope looks good. So we just want the house to look as good as we can when we leave. So I have about another 2 weeks to finish up these ceilings. Ceilings in the kitchen. And then I have, right now I had two carpenters downstairs for about two of the weeks running trim in the basement as well. So the basement's the full size of the first floor. There's only a small mechanical space. So we did all the ceilings, crown, doors, windows, everything else downstairs. There's just no lighting to go through that right now. But that's my walkthrough of this. Hopefully you get an understanding of the work that we can produce and the level of quality and the cleanliness of the job site as we're going through. Thanks for watching.